Hello again, dear viewer. I'm curiousChrysalis. You can call me Chris if you'd like. And today we are going to be playing a little more of Risk of Rain 2. And let's play with a little bit of Huntress today on the Rainstorm difficulty. If memory serves, it's been a little while since I last played, but we haven't gotten terribly far yet. I can't imagine we've gotten much farther than stage 2 or 3. I've been doing a good amount of single-player stuff lately, trying to get my Artificer skin. Still having trouble with that. Monsoon is quite a different story than Rainstorm, so it's nice to sort of get away from the frustration of it and, you know, just have a nice, calm Rainstorm run. Do some Huntress, you know, much simpler character to understand, much simpler to play. Repulsion Armor Plate is not a fantastic item, but early on, at this, like, as your very first item, you can't really complain, you know? That laser glaive is so nice. You know, it might seem a little underwhelming in a game with this many targets flying around to have only 6 bounces, but the damage is significant. And especially once you get items that can, you know, throw out a bunch of procs, those 6 hits on one skill can get pretty nasty. As far as I'm aware, they have the same proc chance as any other hit. They have a 1 proc coefficient. Multi-shops. I will take this energy drink. The Huntress is unique in that they are, as far as I'm aware, the only ranged character, well, the only non-melee character, I should say, that can shoot while sprinting, which is a pretty big deal, because playing quickly is so important. So keeping your speed high and your looting times low on a per-floor basis is really important for the well-being of your run. Gasoline, okay. That'll be okay. It doesn't do a phenomenal amount of damage, but for things like wisps, you know, you can't complain. Wisps are all over the damn place, and they're very, very low health in general. So having the gasoline to get a little bit of chip damage, potentially even kill a couple of them, will be very nice. Don't want to deal with that elite, so we'll throw the missile launcher at him. Missile launcher, in my opinion, one of the most reliable equipment items. I would say its overall power level, like if you maximize it, is not even close to the strongest, but in terms of the reliability of, like, anytime I see a disposable missile launcher on a run, assuming I don't have one of the broken equipments that just makes you insane, I'm always happy to see it, because the damage that it does is pretty good. Don't know exactly how much, but if it's like the ATG missile, each missile is around 300%, which is like 2 2/3 of our mouse 1 attacks right now, which is not nothing. We also picked up a ukulele here, which is really nice. Ukulele is one of the better items for any character, just in general, because of the way that the proc system works in this game. The ukulele can proc your other items, and those other items can proc your ukulele. So if you're lucky enough, you can get a pretty significant just chain of a bunch of different random effects, and it's really helps your speed overall. Oh, okay, yeah, so each of the missiles is doing around double the damage of our auto attack, which is 150, so yes, they do 300 damage, or 300% damage, I should say. So, the disposable missile launcher is the same percentage as an ATG missile, which is quite nice. Because the ATG missile is one of the stronger items as well. So having a large set of ATG missiles on a cooldown is pretty good, pretty dang strong. Huntress. Keep out of those ice AoEs, for sure. I've started to recognize that telegraph for the Beetle Queen's sort of shotgun attack, and it's making it a lot easier for me to deal with them. Another ukulele, I am not gonna complain. Alright. And we didn't get the Newt Shrine, unfortunately. Maybe I could have checked up there. But, honestly, getting the Newt Shrine on the first floor, especially on Rainstorm rather than Monsoon, is not a terribly important thing. It's a very big power boost, especially for certain characters, like, maybe not on the very first floor, but Acrid, the lizard guy, definitely wants a Visions of Heresy from the Lunar Shop at some point early on in the run, because their melee attack isn't very good. So getting an early Lunar Shrine can help with that, and sort of help Acrid players play from a more safe distance. I do want to keep loosely to Monsoon pace, just to make sure the enemies aren't outscaling us. So I want to get out of here pretty soon. Let's get that energy drink. Brings our sprint speed boost up to 50%. And as far as I'm aware, Huntress has one of the higher base movement speeds in the game. So the benefit that you get from the energy drink sprint is multiplicative on top of that, so it's a little more valuable than if we were playing, say, an engineer. In terms of the total amount of raw speed it gives you anyway. Okay, I see the teleporter. Let's check this multi-shop really quick. If there is a lens maker's glasses, I want it. No, I don't think I want any of those, actually. Another thing that's really nice about the Laser Glaive is that it pauses your momentum in air, so you can use it to alleviate some of the fall damage you'll be taking. Claydune Strider is a pain. I don't like this boss at all. It has quite a few attacks that are really, really annoying, but I'm experienced enough that it's not always an active chore. But oh jeez, especially when you get multiple Claydune Striders and they start like doing their big lifesteal attack when they get to low health all at the same time, it's just a mess. But we're in a position right now where we're able to handle it easily, which is nice. Right here, seems to be below. Seems to be when it drops below 1,000 HP when it starts doing this suck move here. Had times where I'm fighting a Claydune Strider and they do their big lifesteal move and they just go all the way back to full health, and it's so annoying. It's super annoying. It becomes it's such a pain to kill them in that state, but we got through just fine. I would say out of all of the bosses, given my current level of experience, Claydune Strider is probably my least favorite. Like, there's some pretty annoying bosses. There's, like, the Imp Overlords and stuff. But a lot of the Imp Overlords' moves are very well telegraphed and have, like, a significant chunk of time for you to register what's going on there. Whereas the Claydune Strider stuff is much shorter in that regard. I saw a Tougher Times. I did. Super, super nice. we see it from the multi-shop. Tougher times with lens maker's glasses. Those are probably my top 2 priorities in general whenever I see them in a white multi-shop. Like, depending on the character, you know, obviously if I'm playing the engineer, I will want to focus a little more on bustling fungus. But bustling fungus is not super common. I don't think the white items are weighted in any way, but it seems like the fungus doesn't show up too much, which is nice. Oh, yo, a red from a small chest, we take those. Shattering Justice is a really solid one too. So I'm glad to see it. If we can keep sustained damage on people, then we can lower their armor and get even more sustained damage, which is super, super nice. You can see here we went from 49 damage to around 59 damage per shot, which is not nothing for sure. It's far from a drastic, huge, like, double damage increase, but it's definitely a respectable amount, especially considering the amount of hits we're going to be putting into enemies at around this point in the game, between all of our chain lightnings and all that. Adding an extra 2 or 3 damage onto a ukulele when there's like 16 ukuleles in 1 second is a significant DPS increase over the course of a run. See a lunar bud down there. I don't know if I want to go for it, because we are still saving up for Artificer. What is this printer? Reinforced plate? Does not matter at all. Maybe if I had 200 items instead of 20. I could make like 1,000 damage reduction or something. That would be fun. But I believe that's usually the job of the Shrine of Order when you try to go for meme builds like that. And I'm traditionally a very big fan of the Shrine of Order, but while I'm still in the process of unlocking stuff, especially characters, I'll probably refrain from using it too much just for consistency's sake. I'd like to get some clears under me, maybe start playing on Monsoon a little bit, get a couple skins before I start doing the intentional run failure sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, Shrine of Order will completely annihilate your run. I've gotten, like, at one point I think I got 50 wax quails, and wax quail is a really, really fun item. I had a great time on that run, especially because it was Loader, who scales off your movement. So the movement from the wax quails was multiplying the damage of my charge punch a significant amount. It was really fun. I love all the little interactions you get in Risk of Rain. That's why I keep coming back. Is just the cascade of item effects when you hit things. Sure. Shape glass? Shape glass. Let's do it. I'm not typically the kind of person to take shape glass, but our run's pretty strong. We've got a Shattering Justice, we've got a missile launcher, and we're playing Huntress, who's fairly speedy, so we should be able to manage. Let's go. Invo Lord, okay. Now watch, I was saying Invo Lord isn't too big of a deal, and now I'm just gonna get instant killed by him. Okay, and yep. The thing about the stone golems, and especially the wisps, is that their tracking isn't perfect. They have a maximum rotation rate that they can hit, so you can use that to your advantage, especially as characters like Huntress that are very fast, to sort of kite your way around them and mess with their tracking so that they can't pin you down as easily. Because those stone golem lasers are really, really big. They aren't as often as the wisps, but they're freaking huge, and they'll knock you back, which is important for teleporter events and things like the Void and all that. So it can be pretty scary sometimes to have a bunch of stone golems around, but they're typically not too much of a threat given their low speed. Alright. You can see that shaped glass really helps sort of clean up. Shaped glass has quite the downside, probably the most severe downside of any of the lunar items, but oh man, does it help. Having just one or two shaped glass under you in a run just really helps you pop off if you can manage to stay alive. I've just been wary of it recently because I've been playing so much Artificer, who's so squishy. So when you're on an Artificer run and you see a shaped glass, it's a real gamble. You know, you've got to have a couple movement items under you so that your floating isn't too slow. Alright, we got Siren's Call, which is awesome, because one of the things I still need to do on this file is unlock the Loader character. And Loader is unlocked by finding a secret boss in the Siren's Call area, so let's prioritize that for the time being. Because if we manage to successfully defeat that boss, which is kind of scary, then we can get a red item for free without having to pay for it or anything. And if it synergizes well with this Shattering Justice, and we already have the shaped glass, it can potentially be a pretty big power boost for us. Let's see. So, in order to spawn the boss, you need to find these eggs around the map. And once you break enough of them, you'll get a chat message, and then you break one more, and the boss spawns. So, I'm looking around sort of the spawning areas that I know of that they're likely to spawn in. The maps in this game are randomly generated, but only just so. The majority of the layout is usually the same, and things do have predetermined spawn points. It's just that the game doesn't tell you any of them. So you kind of have to remember, oh yeah, the neutron can spawn here, 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 and the eggs for the secret boss can spawn here, there, all that sort of thing. And that's sort of one of the larger things that comes with experience, is just recognizing what parts of the map layouts are actually random, and being able to navigate the parts that aren't easily, things like that. And that helps speed up your clear times as well. Okay, distant worries, that's message number 1. Little health regen is nice. When you have shaped glass, health regen is much more important, because shaped glass lowers your health so much, and the one-shot protection that the game has in place is based on having a percentage of your maximum HP. So if you're above 90%, you will never get killed with one shot. So if you have enough shaped glass that you have like 0 health, and you have an item that heals for 1 every time you damage something, like Leeching Seed, you would theoretically never be able to die as long as you hit the other guy as soon as they hit you, or sooner. But the amount of shaped glass you need to get to 2 HP for that to work is unlikely to come up on a non-command run. Yeah, so for this boss, you can see that big sort of multi-shot attack that he's doing. It's really incredible how dangerous that is if you can get shotgunned by it. So I'm trying to do my best to make sure they can't hit me with that. Luckily, there's only 2 outcomes for that skill. It goes up or sideways. So as long as I don't get too cocky and I pay close attention, I should be able to figure it out. Those Elder Lemurians get really scary. Those are another set of enemies that can really shotgun you down if you're not careful. Whoa. Okay, now we've gotten them below the health threshold where they start doing that big move, and if you get caught within a couple like a couple of the AoEs that that big move leaves behind, you can get really, really poached. So, keeping out of those is going to end up as a top priority. Although what is nice with a pretty big asterisk, is that when you get hit by it, you do get launched upwards, and you can use that to your advantage if you need to dodge a larger amount of smaller enemies on the ground. It'll sort of give you a second of respite to not have to worry about the Lemurians and such. But it looks like we're pretty well set up on this alloy unit here, as long as we keep our focus and make sure that the moves don't just burst us down. There we go, guidance offline. So there's the achievement. And there is our red item, Dia's best friend. Honestly, Dia's best friend is not the most interesting red item, but the amount of consistency it adds to your run is so drastic that if I started complaining, I would just look ungrateful. And looking ungrateful is one of the easiest ways to make sure your run fails, because displeasing the RNG is never a good idea. Oh no, am I dead? I'm not dead. I'm just damn close. I'm dead! Aww! Dio's, right! Alright, well, it's a good thing we got that, because Dio's best friend just saved our life as soon as we got it, which is fortunate. Means this run can continue. Oh my, oh jeez. That was really embarrassing. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well let's do one more Huntress run and then we'll touch Loader, and I think we'll be good to go for this episode. Simple first floor stuff. Let's get our first item. Armor piercing rounds is fine. Damage to bosses is never something that you hate, but given that it's only to bosses, it's not a fantastic item. Damage is damage, of course. Did I spawn in here? I did. Oh, there's a red chest. Let's open that. More armor-piercing rounds, okay. 40% extra damage to bosses, especially for the first floor. I'm not gonna complain. First floor bosses tend to be a bit of a pain, especially with stock Huntress, before you have all of the alternate abilities. Because stock Huntress has a little bit of trouble with single target stuff. Or, like, big burst, I should say. Single target is fine. Let's see, reinforced plate. Ooh, I'll take that soldier syringe. Movement, attack speed is always nice on Huntress because of the auto-aiming. You can get those 2 shots to kill a wisp out faster. You don't have to focus on the wisp as much. Crowbar, armor-piercing rounds, and a medkit in that multi-shot. I think I want that crowbar. Okay. Pretty solid item set for the first floor. All of it is damage, which is a little bit scary, especially if we get something like Stone Titan. Stone Titan would be the least fortunate boss spawn at the moment, because that, like, beam is a lot of big scary damage all at once, and if we don't have our healing figured out, then it's gonna be pretty scary, but I believe it. Monster Tooth is okay. It is that healing we were looking for. I don't value Monster Tooth highly because it's a very small amount of health. But when there's a very large amount of enemies, it adds up. And it's far from the least interesting defensive item, or the least useful defensive item. Both of those go to reinforced armor plate, in my opinion. Or repulsion armor plate, I should say. Repulsion armor plate just subtracts 5 from the damage you take, which is fine. More armor-piercing rounds. Let's get 60% extra damage to bosses. And between that and the crowbar, I bet this Vagrant's gonna go down pretty easy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and we've got the bleed too. We've got 2 stacks of bleed. That's a 30% chance, right? Need some of these health groups. Oh yeah. See, that 8 health is a lot more than it seems at this level. Whoa. Oh yeah, 8 health when you only have 200 is a lot better than I give it credit for. Uh-oh. Alright, this is what we call in the business a tactical fall. Luckily, Huntress has enough vertical mobility that we don't have to spend ages getting all the way back up. Razor Wire is pretty nice, honestly. I kind of slept on Razor Wire for a second, but Razor Wire is a pretty solid item. How much does this do? 160% damage? Yeah! So every time we get hit, we're essentially doing a radial version of our standard attack. And that's not bad at all. Especially if you are like an engineer and you get 3 of them, or if you get the Hellfire Tincture from the Lunar Shop, which does small amounts of tick damage to friendlies, including yourself. And if you get both, especially. There's videos from prominent creators in the community about that strategy, and it's quite strong. There's a Razor Wire is a pretty good item, and I forgot, it can, just like plenty of the other items that we've been talking about recently, it can proc your other on-hand item effects. So while you're doing that Razor Wire damage, you're also doing ukulele damage, and you're also doing ATG damage, and you don't have to do any work for it at all. So, you know, for the small exchange of a bit of health, you know, potentially a lot of health if you're in scary situations, you get to do a pretty good chunk of damage. I did see a Lensmaker's glasses in a multi-shop over there, and that is definitely my top priority right now. I need 1 more money. Beetle. I hear a beetle spawn. Alright. Oh no, I overshot. Oh well. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I'll take a fresh meat, I guess. Fresh meat's not bad. And I'm conflicted between the sticky bomb and the tri-tip dagger, but I think extra bleed is more fun. Seeing higher amounts of bleed stacks and getting all of those hit markers makes my brain secrete the happy juice. So we'll go with one of those. And I'll probably open this chest before I go for the multi-shop, because I'm not thrilled with any of the options there. We're officially behind Monsoon pace, but that's fine. Wetland aspect is kind of a pain to find the teleport room more often than not. So I'm okay with taking a little extra time here, because it's a bit of a pain. Ah, there's the teleporter. Awesome. Another tougher times is always nice. Especially because we're earlier on in the scaling curve, so that's a more impactful bear than the rest of them. said something about Stone Titan last floor, huh? It's fine. With our extra damage to bosses, we're actually doing plenty of work. I should really stop talking trash about items. Because I was like, armor-piercing rounds, I sleep. But actually, armor-piercing rounds have been a pretty big help with our clears. Monster Tooth, too. Lepton Daisy was an item I used to talk a lot of trash about, but it's actually a lot better than I thought it was. And that's, sort of a running theme. Over time, there's a lot of items in this game that are like, I'm like, oh, these aren't very good. Like, at first it was Rested Key. But the thing about Rested Key is that while it doesn't add any inherent value to your run when you get it, every one after the first one will make the lockboxes that you open with the Rested Key item have higher quality items in them. So, while getting a key on the first floor is still bad, it's worth, if you can manage to survive past the first floor, it's worth your time. Because the overall payoff, even if it's just a couple white items, a lot of white items are staples and are really what makes your build work. Green items have very strong effects, but they're very specific. Razor Wire is really strong, but you've got to get hit first. And, Predatory Instincts is really good, but you've got to get some crit under you before it really starts to pay off, and that sort of thing. So, keeping it simple with the white items that just give you, chance to crit, extra attack speed, that sort of thing, is totally acceptable. Alright, I want this shield generator, so we can take advantage of the shield gating. And what are the prices on that? 75? It's fine. Interesting thing to note about the arrow rain on Huntress's, the stock Huntress arm, is that it's slow. You see that the slow is a red downwards arrow over the top of the enemy, and that actually counts as a unique slow for the purposes of Deathmark, alongside the Chronobauble effect and the Brunald's Band effect. And so, especially if you're playing like the plant, or if you're playing Acrid alongside a Huntress, it's worth knowing that. In fact, if you have Plant, Huntress, and Acrid all in the same game, you have Deathmark right at the gate, which is pretty nice. And that remains true throughout the entire run, because all of those debuffs are unique and not granted by items, like Artificer's Fire can be. Artificer has the most consistent fire application still, but you can get fire through things like gasoline, and the news recently came out about the August 11th 1.0 release of the game, which has not come out at time of recording. That is coming with an item that is vaguely reminiscent of the Magma item from Risk of Rain 1. So it is likely that that will be a more consistent fire applicator for the near future. But given the effect, it will probably also be a yellow item, and yellow items are really hard to come by. So having that consistent fire application on Artificer's Mouse 1 and R is going to still remain probably pretty valuable for Deathmark plays. No new shrine down here, that's fine. Crowbar. Tri-tip dagger, might as well. Just maximum bleed. Maximum bleed, this is the run now. This is how the run is going to go. I see a bleed, I take a bleed. I don't think I've ever touched these adaptive chests before, but these like cycle through items and you sort of have to press E on the one you want. I always like to wait to see if I see a red. Oh, there it is! Wow! The last one too, so I didn't even have to react. Dio's best friend. Alright, we've gotten this earlier today, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. I probably already have quite a bit, especially for those of you who are watching this immediately after the last episode, because there was a pretty significant gap in between the recordings. So I don't remember exactly what I've mentioned, but, you know, keeping the commentary running is hopefully going much better. I have insecurities about the amount of time that I spent just kind of quiet, so I'm trying to get better at keeping my commentary running. Let's go for Sticky Bomb. Sticky Bomb's nice. It's not a... It doesn't work in proc chains. It doesn't proc anything else. But everything else can proc it, so it's not a bad item by any means. It's just not quite the powerhouse that you're wanting, or that it was historically back in the first game. So nice to just throw one blade and get rid of all those wisps. Wisps are such an annoyance in most runs, especially as characters without ranged attacks by default, and like Artificer, who has to lead all of their shots. Ooh, nice. First time reward on the shrine. Let's roll once more. Hey, Egg! Egg is an underwhelming but still serviceable equipment item. It'll help us get to some places we probably shouldn't be, and that's always good for enemy avoidance purposes. Like if you can find a spot where you can hang out, but the enemies can't have to, then even teleporting enemies, like the Imp Overlords and stuff, won't be able to get to you, and that is a pretty big deal for if you start getting overwhelmed in the later periods of the game. This Tri-Tip Dagger is really nice. Just get a little bit of spare damage on enemies so we don't have to dedicate every single shot with exact flat damage. I believe I've got a 60% chance to proc that bleed, which is pretty nice. Okay, I have run out of things that I can see, and I've passed by the teleporter so many times. I'm gonna head out. Maybe it probably wasn't a very good idea to spend so much time on this floor, but Clay Dunestrider spawned, and I hate this guy, so that's fine by me. Wow, the DPS. DPS I'm getting is a lot more than I was expecting. Oh, it's so nice. Okay, yeah. Armor-piercing rounds. If I get through this run without much trouble, I think armor-piercing rounds is going to be the real MVP. Like, even if it doesn't come into play for any other bosses, just getting through the first 3 floor bosses without too much worry is so convenient. Armor-piercing rounds is the kind of effect I'd expect to see on a green, but it's a white, which is nice. Kind of like, before Old Guillotine got moved to the green tier, it was a white item, and it was among the best items in the game, if not the best item in the game, at that time, because of its rarity versus its power level. Honestly, I'm surprised Tougher Times is a white, but I'm not gonna, you know, look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just gonna use my good item, you know? It's like that old fighting game video, pick a top tier, you know? I'm not gonna complain about getting Tougher Times. I'm not gonna complain about Tougher Times being white, but I am going to say that it's probably pretty strong for a white. Alright, Abyssal Depths. So that means this run we're getting the legendary chest. And I don't know the exact, like, meta, hyper-optimized way you're supposed to farm for this. I just kind of hit enemies until they fall over, and then I buy the big chest and I go hit the teleporter. And I figure that I'm not wasting too much time. But the teleporter spawns quite a few enemies, so it's pretty good for your wallet, you know. I just really want to make sure that I get that red chest, and I'm always wary that if I activate the teleporter too early, I'm not going to be able to finish it and there will be no more enemies spawning, and it's just gonna not be able. It's gonna be like, because getting this red item on your 4th floor is a pretty significant boost to your power level. I have a Diaz, so the overall risk in fighting like big things is reduced. Let's check how much this legendary chest is. I noticed the geometry here, so it's right in here. 2094, that's pretty good, honestly. This pace is not bad. For those of you who aren't recognizing, the amount of money the chest costs scales directly based on the time, not the floor. So your 3rd floor chests will not always cost the same, because the amount of time that you take going through the 1st and 2nd floors is factored in when determining it. So, keeping your pace quick means that items on the next floor are cheaper, which means that you can scale faster, which means that you can outscale the enemies easier, which means you get better runs. So when you are first starting out, I would recommend being careful about how much time you actually spend trying to loot every floor, because while going for the maximum value might seem tempting, it's important to remember that the items that you'll be getting on the next floor are the same items. So if you spend 5 minutes looking for a small chest on floor 1, you could have spent 10 seconds looking for a small chest on floor 2, and saved yourself a whole bunch of time. So, that's why I've sort of been impulsively like, okay, this seems like a good time to go for the teleporter. Because, you want, like, a couple items, you know? They don't even have to be good items. You can get, like, 3 to 5 bad items, or, like, 1 or 2 really, really good ones, and generally be content. Don't love either of those, any of those items right now. I'll look at multi-shops, probably. Multi-shops would be the only thing that I would want to spend money on before I get this big chest, because they're a guarantee. I figure spending 200 of my 2,000 required dollars on a white item is probably not the kind of thing I want to be doing right now. Tell you what, finding enemies can be a challenge sometimes. I guess I've been camping around a lot. It's probably a good idea for me to... Yeah, see, because they're spawning all over the other parts of the map. Yeah. Alright. Now we're starting to get some enemies. Love to see the elite enemies, too. Elite enemies give extra money. Okay, only 400 or so to go. Get that elite amp for some nice money. And we're only 100 out. The enemies seem to have picked up their spawning rate, at least in the nearby area. Okay, just about 2,000 now. Okay, this should be enough. Watch it be like 2090 something. I don't remember exactly. 2094! What did I say? Alright. Now I'm at like 2100, so... Alright, what do we get? Ooh, Ceremonial Dagger, okay. Okay, we officially have potential. Ceremonial Dagger is a huge deal. Ceremonial Dagger can basically continue our proc chains after enemies die, because the Ceremonial Dagger can proc things, and it's an on-death effect. So if you can get a good proc chain going and just sort of ricochet your way through all of your ukuleles and stuff, having Ceremonial Daggers there for when the guy actually ends up dying, and get yourself an extra, like even 1 or 2 procs, getting that is really nice. Okay. And I do want to head towards that teleporter. I do see a green multi-shot that has some potential. Random green. There's the death mark. Let's start picking that up. Getting that 50% increased damage from all sources on an enemy is such a ludicrous power boost if you can manage to pull it off. But it's a bit tricky, because you need 4 unique debuffs that you can apply at any one time. Wow! Oh, Dios. Okay. Those Elder Lemurians are quite annoying. They can really get you killed if you're not paying attention. Okay. Wowie. Ooh-wee. Okay. This is where the commentary is going to start to falter, probably. Because we're starting to get to the point of the game where the enemy count is so high that I'm going to have to start really paying attention to my movement and stuff. Okay. Oh, brass contraption bad. Brass contraption bad. Please go away. Okay. Yep. We're fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Not even close. Not even close. I've never even broke a sweat. I don't know what you're talking about. Brass contraptions can just one-shot you once you get to a late enough level. Especially these, especially elite ones. Their projectiles are somewhat slow, but quite dangerous. Never back down. Hey, we unlocked an item. That's cool. I always unlock that one completely on accident because staying in the teleporter radius is something I like to maximize. But the item we got from that is a pretty nice one. Focus Convergence. Cuts the teleporter's radius in half, but makes it charge twice as fast. Okay, so I don't like Stage 5. I don't like Stage 5 at all. The parents are really scary. These big guys here. They can teleport around and try and smash your face in, and they have quite a lot of health. If you get, like, overloading ones, or, like, the Tier 2 elite ones, like Malachites and Celestines, parents are just a nightmare to deal with. And these little mushroom guys that leave these clouds around can be quite a nuisance as well. Okay, cool. I don't know if, like... Okay, well, I say I don't know if you guys saw that, because it's freaking... I'm used to online games. But, I think I just dry-strung my bow a couple times, just, like, let it fly without an arrow attached. Unless that was doing phantom damage with no damage numbers, which is another possibility. The game is still technically in early access, although it's very late early access. Oh, more Lemurians. And this is where your Huntress's auto-aim can be kind of problematic, because if you stray too close to the mushrooms while you're trying to hit the Lemurian, it can target onto the mushrooms instead, and that is a little bit smaller of a threat. Mushrooms are very passive in terms of the actual threat they pose from a moment-to-moment standpoint. I would could just move on, but everything's so cheap. 264 is not a lot of money for a small chest at this point in the game, so... Just use Spag to get some mobility. What's this? Stealth kit? I'll take one. Yeah, Leeching Seed was a good throwaway there. Leeching Seed is fine. It's actually saved my life quite a few times, but the Huntress in specific doesn't have a phenomenal synergy with it, because her hit rate is lower. It's not super low. Like if we planted a good arrow rain in a crowd, we would probably be getting some good chip healing out of that Leeching Seed, but you need quite a few hits to get some real value out of it. Because it is one healing per instance of damage per stack. So it's far from proper like percentage-based lifesteal like you'd see in other games. So yeah, the brass contraptions have ramped up a little bit. And this is where I start jumping like a madman. Yeah, so the magma worm that's been hanging around since the very start of the stage has come around to help out the magma worm that I spawned as the boss. Oh no, that's a Blazing Wisp. Get out of here. Blazing Wisps are so dangerous. So dangerous. Because blazing enemies will do damage over time to you. And damage over time is the most dangerous kind of damage because of how the one-shot protection in this game works. So it can shoot you down to 10% health from full, and then that one fire tick that it does will do the last 10%. And because it's technically 2 shots, you get killed, and it's really, really annoying, honestly, and I would like to see it changed a little bit, but it means that Blazing Wisps, once you get far enough in, are just so scary. Okay, so as far as I'm aware, this would be the first loop I've caught on camera that I'll end up publishing. I've had a few loops before, but the audio problems that I had last episode were even worse. Hopefully I have them figured out by now. There we go, Deja Vu. So yeah, this is the first loop that I've shown on camera since I reset to deal with the audio issues. And you know, the game really starts getting going when you get to your first loop. You start seeing those new those new elite enemy types that I've mentioned in passing, and those are very dangerous enemies. And you start seeing every enemy type wherever now. They aren't confined strictly to their own stages. I don't think every single enemy type can spawn in every single stage after the first loop, but it definitely starts unrestricting them pretty significantly. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Elder Lemurians on a 4-1 without the artifact of dissonance, which makes them ignore the pool. So, like, there's a couple restrictions, but they make them a lot more limited. I feel a little slow. Maybe it's just because I haven't been stacking a bunch of movement items by happenstance, but I feel a little bit slow right now. If you were paying close enough attention, you would have seen the very first Malachite enemy I ever encountered on camera. The Malachite enemies are those dark green elites, and they shoot out little spikes that will block your healing for a period of time if you get hit by them, which is a very intimidating effect, especially when you get further on, because it lasts a good chunk of time. And the Malachite enemies themselves also do a fat chunk of damage. So they will most likely get you down to that 10% health threshold within 1 or 2 hits of those spike balls if you end up getting hit by them. Okay, make sure it's up there. I'm not going to go for it because I would only have enough for 1 item. But what I will go for is a couple more items. I think I want to start being more observant of my loot now that we're at the point in the game where just incidental enemy kills will get me more than enough to open up chests. You love to see the ability to one-shot things at this level. And you can hear just how much the Ceremonial Daggers help out. From all of the hit markers I'm getting, I just randomly killed one enemy, you know, and it spiraled out into, like, a whole thing. Okay. I don't think I'm seeing any extra chests here. Ah, but I do see this emergency drone, which would be nice for security. Get out of here. Maybe get this chest. Oh, wait. Things are 313. Forgot about that part. Wandering Vagrant is a nice, simple boss. Those masses of stone golems are scary. But I think I've taken care of them. It is quite the mess in there. But luckily we got a good teleporter spawn for Wandering Vagrant shenanigans. So that's not too much of an issue. Second Razor Wire is a pretty nice pickup. And sure. Oh, cool! Another one! Well, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting out of the Combat Shrine, but I guess I'll take another Wandering Vagrant to fight. See him like 11, 12, 13 bleed stacks sometimes. It's very cool. The amount of jukage that just happened to avoid that tracking ball is impressive. Okay. Got the funded achievement, unlock the crowdfunder, the worst equipment item in the game. It shoots your money at people, and the reasons that is bad should be fairly self-evident. Got our first ATG missile on this floor. That is a really nice pickup. Having an ATG missile for that fat 300% damage proc is gonna be really nice. Man, my heart is telling me to go for Kajaro and Runald's bands, but my soul is telling me to clear. So I think what I want to do is just run right for the telly. Now that I realize these little clay pots on the ground give me ceremonial daggers, I am much more interested in staying around, actually. I didn't notice that before. How much damage do they do anyway? 150, right? 150. Okay. So every ceremonial dagger is one of my left clicks, and that's nice. That's a fairly decent chunk of damage. See a Celestine enemy here, and the effect should be self-evident by the fact that I cannot currently see the Clay Dune Strider that is kicking my ass. That's okay. My laser glaive and my auto aim don't care, so honestly for Huntress, it is a minor annoyance rather than a serious problem. Wow, just a crazy amount of kills in that one spot there with my arrow rain. Oh, jeez. The thing we really need, we still don't have death mark up time. We need some more procs. I guess we need one more proc. No, we don't. We need two, because one of those was the defense that it was against. It's fine. Greater Wisp is scary. Let's get under some cover. And let's open up some chests, and there's the teleporter. Perfect. So I definitely want to hit the teleporter by 40 minutes, but I'll probably hit it sooner. 5th bear. Super good. Okay, let's do that to get some attacks up. Beetle Queen. 2 of them? 3 of them? 3 of them. That's fine. Yeah, I was saying the armor-piercing rounds were the MVP before, and I was right. I went from sleeping on armor-piercing rounds to being saved by armor-piercing rounds over the course of one run, and I think this is a lesson in hubris for all of us. Because I thought I knew, but I didn't know. But just like, yeah, 60% damage, you know, when you're doing such impressive DPS is pretty nice. Because of all of the extra health the bosses have, of course. Now. Oh, nice! Oh, that's the Hellfire Tincture I was talking about at the very beginning of this run. When we got the Razor Wire, I mentioned the Hellfire Tincture. So that is what enables that synergy there, to basically use your Razor Wire as your primary source of damage. Which is a really fun strat, honestly. It's one of the quicker ways to be able to AFK your way through the game, if you can pull it off early. Because that's what really ends up happening when you go far enough into any given Risk of Rain run, is that the game just becomes an AFK fest. And, in my opinion, that's not a bad thing at all. Because the way the game is designed, it's sort of inevitable that you'll end up hitting a period where you just become unstoppable. I thought I saw... Oh, right, I did. There was an equipment thing around here. Is it under the corpse? Yes. More or less, anyway. Ah, Somerang! Somerang is better than Egg, at least. Stage 8. Alright. This is the money time. This will be the first clear. And I think this will be episode 2, so that'll be awesome. It'll be awesome to see if I can get it clear on the very second episode. Feel a lot more like a big gamer than my first run through, where I had like 5 or 6 failed runs right off the bat. It was kind of embarrassing. But, of course, we're not out of the woods yet. Stage 8 is incredibly scary. I've died in the Stage 7 teleporter quite a lot, and Stage 8 has similar troubles. You can see there just how much damage Celestine enemies do. Chunked my entire health bar down, up down to like a quarter or a third. I would like to see a Will-o'-the-Wisp, but at this point, we're gonna take what we get, you know? Let's use the Somerang, get a little bit of chip. So many elites. That's 3 elite beetles, one after another. Just keep that damage on. Keep that dot ticking. Get those ceremonial daggers online. Alloy vultures. That's another scary enemy type. They shoot pretty slow projectiles, but they do a lot of damage. This blazing beetle guard is also not a fun time. If I get hit by any of that guy's things, I will probably just die. So, that Sommering again, and there it is, the almost just dying. I got hit by the one thing the Beetle Guard does that pulls you towards him, and I almost died for it. No, 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 no. Okay, I think I would have actually just died there if I didn't use that teleport. So we're leaving. We are not gonna deal with this anymore. Gonna stay far above them. And I died! Damn! Damn. Damn. Oh well. It's no big deal. You know, that's the thing, is you can't get too mad about a failed run, or else you're just gonna hate it, you know? So, I was gonna do a run as loader this episode, but then we started popping off. So I figure now would be a pretty good time to end it. If my gameplay, commentary, or personality has made your day even that little bit better, if you want to tell YouTube or myself, you can use the avenues the system uses to tell me that. The like, comment, and subscribe buttons, as always, are right underneath the video if you are enjoying yourself. And, you know, I will see you guys next time. Give your pets a little extra love for me.